Richard definitely cared more about the people than the product. And in fact, I think the product is born from that care. He had a quote, "We save lives," and we do, and it's very important. And we save lives of customers, but we also save the lives of those who are in the building with us every day.
First time he ever came walking down the hall into our side of the office, you can hear him right down the hallway, and that his just laugh and his voice just carried, and you knew when he was coming down that hallway, and you couldn't help but laugh and smile.
I used to bring his mail to him in his office, and I brought him this package, and he opened it. It was a book, Americana, and I asked him what it was about, and he said it like a history of the United States, little known facts. And he was buying it for a friend of his because he read it and he really enjoyed it. And I said, "Oh, that sounds really interesting." So like 2 days later, I get a package on my desk with my name on it. And it was a copy of that book, which after I read, I literally gave to everyone I know that reads because it was a very interesting book. And he was just kind of thoughtful that way. And
my first encounter with the Taylors was at the Taylor department store. I learned so much. After they decided to close the store, Mr. Taylor came up to me and he said, "I'm taking you over to my other company." In 1998, I came over to Austin Air. He put me over in collections. He said, "I know you can handle this. All you have to do is call them and get the money." Ever since then, I've been calling and get the money. What an amazing person he was. So kind, so generous, just awesome.
Well, I started working for him in 2012, but I actually met him a few years prior. I used to work on a lot of his vehicles. I remember he called me one day and he said, "We're building this expansion for a research lab, and I need technical consultations on it." And I just remember walking in this big place, and there's stuff going on every floor, and there's boxes of material everywhere and merchandise and framed out hallways, and I just was like in awe at the amount of space and everything that was in it. We went up to his office and sat down with him, and he was talking about, changing lives and how he's going into this research labs and he's developing all these, crazy things that are just going to change the world. By the way, help us do it and be a part of a movement. And then I've been here ever since.
How he impacted everybody was just like, it was fascinating. It touched your heart to see that, and how impactful he was and positive he was in everybody's lives.
He was always willing to listen to your ideas. If he liked your idea, he said, "I'm glad I thought of that." And you knew from there you were on the right track.
When I first met him, I was a snippy kid, and I'm still a little snippy. During that time period when we were in the factory and we were working so hard, everybody was here 7 days a week for like 12, 13 months every day. We took off Christmas, that was it, in a whole year. That's the only time anybody had off. And so we're in the factory and we're going around, and I don't know what I was being snippy about, I can't remember, but he said, "Shut up, I'm trying to teach you something." And he was always trying to teach everybody something. He had so much information.
First thing he said to me was, "You're gonna be a star," with him helping me grow with the company and helping me hands-on, and how much he's taught me about Austin Air, and so that's been a pleasure.
I'm working on a machine, it's very hot, it felt like 90 degrees, and I peek behind me and Mr. Taylor's behind me with a stopwatch. And when I look back, he says, "You're a star, how do you do it?" And it's a great memory because he wanted to maximize everybody's talent and to do it as fast as you can when we're busy. And I enjoyed it, and it made me love the company more and love working for him more.
When we first started, there was one-on-one for everyone, all the time. He was literally on the floor with us every day, all day. Push you to get it done. He would literally be out there spot welding with us.
He would admire my strength and my health and youth, and then he would tell me, "But you should stop smoking cigarettes, and don't eat the food from the corner store anymore." So that's a funny story. That's true. That is very true. It's true.
He could be like 12, 15 feet away, 20 feet away from you when you're doing a job, and he sees something wrong. Hey, I think this is the way. try it and it's gonna be easy for you.
It was very important for Richard to know everyone's name that worked for him.
He knew everybody, just not as an employee, but he knew everybody's background. He knew everybody's family.
I raised my family with this building with Austin Air, and my kids, they now work here. Her kids, her daughter.
Leroy's son worked here. COVID hit, and we went from about 40 employees up to about 160 employees. He got upset because he didn't know every 160 employees. He didn't want to get so big where he didn't know everybody, but, you know, we had a job to do to supply everybody with an air cleaner, so.
He was always innovating, always changing things up to make them more streamlined, to make them better, to make them faster. He used to say manufacturing is about pennies and seconds. So every second you could get was an improvement.
He was there every day up in production, helping us to figure out ways to move faster. There was a time I was working the late shift, and I mean, he was there till 9, 10 o'clock at night. That, for me, was the first time that I was like, wow, this guy, he really cares about this. Like, for him to be here this late, he doesn't have to be here at all. I mean, he really did care about this place and the product we made.
I think that Richard envisioned helping as many people as possible, and we're continuing to do that as best as we can today. I also think that there's something very interesting about the group of people that we have here. Everyone is very dedicated to him. He managed to really have people endear themselves to him, and we're all a devoted group here that's still coming in every day and doing the best we can.
And to say that he was a boss would be an understatement. He was more like a father figure, you know, to all of us, not just myself.
He was like a father to a lot of us. He made that connection with people.
Rick saw potential in people that people didn't even see in themselves, and he put his trust and faith, and he just raised you up.
There's so many people whose lives have been changed by him, people who are close to him and people who are far away. You know, it didn't matter. He reached so far. And again, that's something we continue to try to do too, is like with the air purifier and also with the immunoclay when we get there. I think that that's something that will really change healthcare and the way people feel. But I believe that his legacy will turn out to be Austin Research Labs in the end.
You know, there's something about you that makes me smile.
Well, you just feel free to smile, babe. I'm going upstairs.